My name is Alina Rahman. I'm 28 years old. And when I was 21, my parents stood on a stage in front of 500 people at my sister's graduation and said into a microphone, "We should have stopped after our first daughter. The second one, she's useless." The room laughed. My sister laughed. I didn't. I remember the exact sound. Not just laughter, the kind that spreads, the kind that infects people who don't even know why they're laughing. It lasted 6 seconds. It changed the next 7 years of my life. I walked out of that auditorium at exactly 1:52 p.m., and I didn't speak to them again. Not for Eid, not for birthdays, not when my grandmother died. 7 years. Then, 3 months ago, my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. I should have, but I answered. "Alina, come home. Your sister." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to, because I knew. And the irony? The girl they called useless was the only one left who could fix what they broke. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is what they did to make sure my sister would never reach me. Let me take you back. We lived at House 17, Block C, in a quiet neighborhood where everything looked perfect from the outside. White walls, iron gate, bougainvillea climbing over the fence. My father was a bank manager. My mother was a school principal. Respectable, polished, the kind of family people pointed at and said, "Goals." Inside, we weren't a family. We were a ranking system. My sister Aisha was born in 1995. I was born in 1998, 3 years apart. An entire lifetime in how we were treated. Aisha was brilliance, straight A's, debate captain, scholarships, perfect posture, perfect smile. I was average, 3.2 GPA, quiet, invisible. But the worst part wasn't the grades. It was dinner. 7 p.m. every night. Same table. Same seats. Aisha sat to my father's right. Always. That seat meant something. I sat at the far end, closest to the kitchen, close enough to serve, far enough to be forgotten. "Aisha, tell us about your competition," my father would say, cutting his food like he was performing surgery. "I won regionals," she'd smile. "Of course you did," my mother would beam. "You always do." Then, a glance at me, a pause, like remembering I existed. "And you?" my father would say. "What did you do today?" I stopped answering that question when I was 15. Instead, I started counting. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" 52 times. That's how many times they said it between ninth grade and graduation. I wrote it down. Every single time. Date, time, context. Because I needed proof. Proof that I wasn't imagining it. April 3rd, 2017. Aisha got her university acceptance. Full scholarship. My mother cried. My father ordered food from a 5-star restaurant. Bill, 18,700 rupees. I remember the number because I saw it on the receipt. I got my acceptance the same day. No scholarship, just admission. "I got in too," I said quietly. My father didn't even look up. "That's nice," he said. "Pass the water." That was it. That was my celebration. But that wasn't the moment that broke me. Not yet. That came a year later. May 25th, 2018. Aisha's graduation. I woke up at 6:40 a.m. I remember because I checked my phone 3 times that morning. Not because I was excited. Because I was waiting. Waiting for something to feel different. It didn't. I wore a blue dress I bought myself. 2,900 rupees. I did my own hair. No one asked if I needed help. Downstairs, my mother was adjusting Aisha's gown. "You look perfect," she said. Perfect. That word belonged to Aisha. I stood in the doorway. Ready. Invisible. We left the house at 9:12 a.m. My father drove. My mother sat in front. Aisha behind him. Me behind my mother, looking out the window. like always. The auditorium was massive. Rows of chairs, bright lights, too many people, too much noise. My father handed me a ticket. "We only have 4 seats in front," he said. "You don't mind sitting further back, right?" He didn't wait for my answer. Row L, seat 19. 11 rows behind them. I could see them. They couldn't see me. Or maybe they could. They just didn't care. The ceremony started at 11:05 a.m. Speeches. Clapping. Names being called. I don't remember any of it. Because I was watching them. Waiting. For one moment. One glance. One sign that I mattered. It never came. Then, "Parents' tribute segment," the announcer said. 5 families. 1 minute each. A chance to celebrate. To honor. To love. My parents stood up. My stomach dropped. No. No, no, no. Not them. Not with a microphone. My father adjusted his tie. My mother smiled. Confident. Proud. They walked on stage like they owned it. The microphone screeched. The room went quiet. "My daughter Ayesha," my father began. His voice echoed. "Has always been exceptional." Applause. "She is everything we ever hoped for." More applause. He paused, smiled, then said it. "We should have stopped after her." Laughter. Soft at first, then louder. Then, "Our second child. She's useless." The room exploded. People laughed. Loud. Uncontrolled. My mother leaned in. "At least one of them made us proud." More laughter. My sister? She laughed too. Hand over her mouth. Like it was funny. Like I was funny. I sat there, frozen, my hands gripping the chair, my ears ringing, my chest tight. I couldn't breathe. The laughter lasted 6 seconds, but it echoed, over and over and over. Useless, useless, useless. The ceremony ended at 1:46 p.m. Everyone stood. Families rushed forward. Hugs, pictures, tears. I stayed seated for exactly 3 minutes because I couldn't move. Then I stood, walked out. No one stopped me. No one noticed. I made it to the parking lot. That's when I heard her. "Alina," my mother. I turned. They were all there, smiling, like nothing happened. "You disappeared," she said. Annoyed, not sorry, annoyed. "You humiliated me," I said, my voice shaking. My father laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, come on," he said. "It was a joke. You told 500 people I'm useless." "We never said that," my mother snapped. "You're being dramatic." There it was, the word they used when they didn't want to take responsibility. Dramatic. My sister stepped forward. "You okay?" she asked. Like she hadn't just laughed. "Am I okay?" I said. "You didn't defend me." She sighed. "Alina, you know how they are." That sentence, that excuse, that was the moment I understood something. She wasn't on my side. She never was. "I'm not coming to lunch," I said. My father shrugged. "Suit yourself." My mother rolled her eyes. "Stop being childish." Childish. For bleeding where they stabbed. They walked away. Just like that. My sister looked back. Once. Then followed them. I stood there alone. Again. Like always. But this time, something was different. Something inside me snapped. And I made a decision. Right there. In that parking lot. At 2:18 p.m., I was done. Done trying. Done hoping. Done being their second choice. I went back to my dorm, packed everything, and by the end of that night, I erased them. Blocked numbers. Left group chats. Deleted photos. 12 contacts. 17 minutes gone. I told myself something before I slept. A promise. I will never need them again, and I meant it. But I had no idea that 7 years later, they would be the ones begging me to come back. And I had no idea what I would discover when I did. And that's when I realized something I hadn't admitted to myself yet. I wasn't just hurt. I was keeping score. Not of grades, Not of achievements, but of every single time I was made to feel like I didn't belong. And I knew exactly when it started. Let me take you back. We were a family of 4. On paper, we were perfect. 2 parents, 2 daughters, a clean house, a respectable neighborhood. The kind of family people pointed at and said, they've got it all together. But inside that house, there was a system, a quiet, unspoken hierarchy, and I was at the bottom of it. My older sister, Alina, was born in 1997. I was born in 1999. 2 years apart. But it might as well have been 2 different worlds. Alina was the pride, I was the problem. By the time she was 10, she had already won 3 academic awards. By the time I was 10, I was being told to try harder. By 14, she was head girl. By 14, I was distracted. By 16, she had straight A's. By 16, I had a mix of B's and A's. And somehow, that made me a disappointment. But here's the thing. It wasn't just about grades. It was the tone, the looks, the little comments that stacked up over time. And I counted them. I actually did. Because I needed proof that I wasn't imagining it. Why can't you be more like your sister? 62 times, from age 12 to 18. I wrote every single one down. Dates, situations, exact words. Because when it happens that often, you start to question your own reality. Dinner time was the worst. Every night, 8 p.m., same table, same seats, my dad at the head, my mom across from him, Alina on his right, the important seat, and me at the edge, closest to the kitchen, close enough to be useful, far enough to be invisible. So Alina, my dad would say, smiling, how did your test go? Got a 96. That's my girl. Then a pause, a glance in my direction. And you? 84. Silence. A sigh. You need to focus more. It didn't matter that 84 was still good. It didn't matter that I studied. It didn't matter that I tried. Because I wasn't her. And that was the problem. But the worst part, it wasn't them. Not entirely. It was her. Alina never defended me. Not once. Not when they compared us. Not when they dismissed me. Not when they laughed at my mistakes. She'd just sit there, quiet, accepting it, benefiting from it. And I told myself something dangerous. Maybe they're right. That thought followed me everywhere. Into school, into friendships, into how I saw myself. I stopped raising my hand in class, stopped speaking up, stopped trying to stand out. Because every time I did, I heard their voices in my head. Not good enough. And then came the first moment that really broke something in me. I was 15. It was parent-teacher day. My math teacher pulled my parents aside. She's doing well, he said. She just needs confidence. That was it. That's all he said. On the way home, my mom turned in her seat and said, "Do you know how embarrassing that was?" My chest tightened. What? You're capable, but you're lazy. That's worse. My dad added, "You have no discipline." I remember staring out the window, counting the seconds, trying not to cry, because crying would make it worse. It always did. That night, I sat at my desk for 4 hours, not studying, just staring at my books, thinking one thing over and over again. What's wrong with me? But that wasn't the worst part, not even close, because the real damage didn't come from one moment. It came from repetition, consistency, years of being told, directly or indirectly, that I was less. Birthdays? Alina got parties, I got cake. Graduations? Alina got speeches. I got good job. Achievements? Alina got celebration dinners. Mine got a nod. By the time we were both in college, the gap had widened even more. She got financial support. I got figure it out. I worked part-time, tutoring, data entry, anything I could find, while studying, while trying to keep up, while pretending I was okay. And still, it wasn't enough. Then came that day, the day everything changed, the day I stopped trying, the day I finally understood exactly where I stood in that family. My sister's graduation, May 22nd. I remember the date like it's burned into my brain, because that was the day they didn't just think I was useless. They said it, out loud, in front of everyone. And I wasn't ready for what came after. Not even close.